Toyota. I'm here at Base Camp 1, right outside Area 51, with all of the UFO lore that goes along with that. We are here in day one. Competitors have been hanging out this morning out on course. They have started a choice between a small loop and a big loop. We're going to take you through the tracker a little bit later so you can see exactly what that looks like when you're looking on the tracker. But for now, Emmy Hall here would like to introduce our very special guest, Ms. Chrissie Beavis. She is the competition director here of the Rebelle Rally. She is also a fantastic navigator herself. She's a fantastic driver. Maybe you've seen her just driving on a little. I remember I saw you once in a Ford commercial. And I was like, oh, look, there's Beavis driving a Ford. That's so cool. Chrissie, thank you so much for being here with our very first midday competition update.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what do you, anything that you have seen so far this morning?
After watching yesterday, which was a very easy day on that prologue, teams seemed pretty nervous actually going out this morning. So we had a couple of course changes that happened right away this morning. And so I was out actually on the start line helping with that, and I don't usually get to do that. And so it was interesting to see how nervous the teams were there on day one.
Well, what's really cool is that we've never been able to do this before, but now we are able to get highlights from this morning to this show, which has never happened before. So we've got some cool drone footage, so let's roll that and see what happens. All right, Chrissie, so we've got some teams up here on a blue checkpoint, but one thing I noticed is that we've got a bunch of teams like kind of bunched up together, and that's something that we always say that you can't follow on the Rebelle Rally. So what's the story there?
Yeah, so the teams go in a couple of different groups. So they never know if a checkpoint is actually theirs or if it's at different groups. So they just have to know where they are all the time. And we always recommend that they don't just go following someone up to some checkpoint or some place and signaling the tracker, because it's very likely not to be the place that's theirs. But you also have a lot of just roads out here, right? So it's open BLM land, but we have to stay on the trails and on the roads unless it's an open OHV area.
Right, right. And that, of course, is part of our tread lightly principles, to stay on marked roads unless it is open OHV. This is not open OHV, so there's no cross-country traveling. It's all on marked roads and trails.
Yeah, so you'll see here someone's turning off, that people come and go from different trails, and there's a lot of trails out there. So sometimes there's quite a few different ways to get to one checkpoint, and sometimes there's only one way to get to that checkpoint.
Got it. Well, it looks like here they are coming into that dry lake bed that Emily and I talked about earlier today. She said it's about 5 miles across, and when they get to this green checkpoint, after this, they've got a dead reckoning checkpoint that is unmarked, a black checkpoint. But what do we mean when we talk about a dead reckoning checkpoint?
So that means that they're just going to drive cross-country. They're not going to be on a trail. They're on an open lake bed, which means that they can just drive anywhere they want out there. And so from that green checkpoint, they're going to be taking a heading, and then they're going to be driving a distance. And so that means that they just need to take that heading and drive exactly that heading for the distance, signal their tracker, and that's it.
Because they won't have any other features to triangulate off of, is that correct?
They might have features to triangulate off of, but that takes a lot of time. And so if you can drive on a heading and you can drive the distance using your odometer, signal your tracker and get out of there.
Now, I also talked to some of the competitors, and they said all of their maps that they've received so far have been 100,000 maps, which means that you're pulled out just a little bit. So making those really, really precise measurements can be a little bit difficult. In a straight line, not quite as much, but if they have to do a measurement on a road that's kind of curvy, on a 100K map, it can be tough.
It can be. And I think that a lot of teams, and you'll see this on the tracking that we'll show you in a little bit, but a lot of teams are nailing this checkpoint because on a dry lake bed, you can drive very straight. And so as long as they are good at using their compass and good at using their odometer,
right,
they can go out and nail this checkpoint without any other features.
And they can also go out to that where they think that black checkpoint is. If they can see the green flag from where they think their black checkpoint is, they can take that back heading, make sure it's the exact opposite of where they started from, and then at least they know they've gone in a straight line. Maybe their distance might be off, but they know that they're on the correct heading.
Absolutely. And a lot of teams forget to use their back bearing, but that is a very smart one to do.
Yeah. So future Rebelles, that was a pro tip from me, 2-time winner of the Reveille Rally. I mean, I'm not like giving myself a pat on the back, but I'm pretty cool.
I mean, that's cool. I wish I could do it.
You could. Oh my gosh, no, you would have so much of an unfair advantage. It would never happen.
I don't think it would be an unfair advantage if someone just came up with this game and put it on for me. I just can't do it because I run the whole scoring and competition side.
Right. Chrissie is pretty irreplaceable. Well, speaking of tracking, we do have this really cool tracking system. We're going to bring up the YB tracker now. You can do this from your phone, but I'm telling you, it's a lot easier to do from your desktop computer. So here, each little square there represents a single team, and then you've got a list of teams there on the left.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is what's live right now. So this is where the teams are right now. But if you go down to the bottom of the screen, you can actually scroll time backwards to this morning.
Whoa,
and
look at that. We're going
watch
back in time.
everyone go back to the base camp. And you'll see everyone left base camp this morning on an On Time Enduro.
Right.
And so that's what that yellow line is. So when you see that, you'll know that they are all going that way.
And they're all on the same path. So not following, they're just following their road book.
Exactly. And they're 1 minute apart at that point. So once they get there, then they're going to split off today. So they're going to split off into a smaller loop up towards base camp and a bigger loop down towards the south.
And they did that right after the Enduro. So right now we're still looking at the past.
Yep. So right now we're only about 30 minutes into their day this morning. And so as we scroll along and see more of their day, you're going to see how they've split apart. And there's the inner loop and that outer loop. And then they switch halfway through the day.
Okay. So what if I have a favorite team and I just want to search for that team? Can I do that?
Absolutely. So over on the left, you can click into that box and just search for that team number.
Okay.
And then you can see just that team up. Or if you don't do that, you can scroll through the full list and click on that team and it'll highlight it for you.
Okay. So the way to see the team on its own is to search for it specifically. If you click from the list, you just get a highlight with everyone else there.
Yep. And you can see everyone still there.
All right. That's cool. And then we've got some different layers that are happening here in the tracker. So explain to me what that's about.
Well, up at the top, you can actually turn on the tails. So you can actually see where they went. So, yeah, you can see where they are now, but there's kind of a tail that leads, behind them. And there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can have a tail that's only like 15 minutes long, so it shows where they were for the last 15 minutes. Or you can have a tail for the entire day. So if you look on for just one team and turn their tail on for the whole day, then you get to see their tracks for the whole day.
Exactly
cool.
Where they went. And then that might show you how close they were to, say, a black checkpoint. And then they were spot on, or, they were really off. So that gives you an idea of where they're going to be in the scoring.
Absolutely. And you can really zoom in on this stuff, too.
Yeah.
So you can see exactly where they were. The satellite images are great. YB puts those checkpoints on there so you can really kind of root for your team and see how close they've gotten to those X checkpoints.
Yeah, and that map is also provided by Mapbox. So the combination of YB and Iridium and Mapbox really gives you a great way to follow either all of the teams or your favorite teams.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I love that. So we have some footage from Matthew Johnson, who was out on course today, talking with a team that has won in the past and came in on the podium last year. And I'm stoked that we've got to have some of our live show people out on course again. This is a new thing for us. So let's see what Matthew Johnson was doing out there.
Hey, Yemi, we are out here on stage, and coming right up is Nina and Tara Lynn. I'm going to try to see if I can get a quick word out of them. Can you stop? Do you have 2 seconds for us?
Yep.
How's your day been?
It's been great.
Is this the beginning of the X checkpoint loop?
Yes.
Yeah, so you haven't been in any of the rough stuff yet, I'm assuming.
Now, this is supposed to be the beginning of it right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. How has the day felt like so far, time management-wise? I know you've had to cover a big loop to get back here.
Great. Yeah, we kept a great pace, and so we feel really good about our time because, like, we've got, we know we've got some slow going ahead of us, so we wanted to make sure we got in here. This is about our halfway mark. We're exactly like 5 hours and 2 minutes into our day.
Okay.
And we're going after our checkpoint 13 out of 19. I think we have 19 checkpoints altogether. We're on 13, so we're doing good. We're ahead of our halfway mark.
Now, did you stop and get 5 gallons of fuel?
No, actually, at our at the green CP6, they had a note that said there will be no fuel at base camp, so we did not stop for fuel.
Oh, interesting. And it looks like you're doing all right there.
Yeah, we're not worried about fuel on this rig. She's got like 21.5 gallons. She's pretty efficient.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, rock on. Well, we love seeing you guys out here. We've been watching you with binoculars for 15 minutes.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. We found, good thing.
They're not that good at binoculars. All right, have fun, y'all.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Bye. Tara Lynn using every moment she had, not bothering too much other than a smile and a bye for us. So we're going to try to get a few others, Emmy. Maybe we can toss back and forth a little bit, but until then, we'll hit you back.
That is so cool. I love that we get to see Matthew out there having fun. He's like, every morning he's like, I'm going to go out on course. I'm going to go out on course. He's always so excited about it. He gets his little YETI cooler, which, by the way, have you seen our new awesome sandstone color? This is brand new. It's a fully it's a color inspired by and developed by you and Emily for the Rebelle. I love it.
Yeah, it was the Valley of Fire. We got to do a little photo shoot with YETI, and they are such lovely company. We love them.
Yeah, it's awesome. I have a little YETI mini cooler because my off-road vehicle is super small, so I just have a little one and I fill it up with ice and throw my Diet Dr. Pepper in there, and I've got ice for a day and a half.
Yeah, so Matthew's out there with his YETI cooler interviewing people.
I know, and I'm
That
here.
sounds
I got this. It's probably full of water.
I need to switch jobs.
I know. Our job is a lot easier than yours. But speaking of your job, how's that for a segue, everybody? Let's talk a little bit about the scoring because, folks, if you're following along at home and you're looking at the scoring page, that's on rebellerally.com/live, and then just go to live standings. If you're looking at that, you might be like, well, my team is all the way down at the bottom and they don't have enough points and blah, 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 blah. This page really explains how the scoring during the day is a work in progress.
Yeah, because some of the top teams left later. Some of them had issues on the REC, which is how they were seated for going out today. And then also some of them, I've heard, might have thrown the REC yesterday so that they could go out later in the pack today.
Right.
And so what you're seeing here is how many checkpoints have been collected for the teams so far. That does not mean that's what they're going to get at the end of the day.
Right.
So you can't really look at the standings until everyone's come in.
Yeah.
But what you can do is look at your team and look at what checkpoints they're actually collecting. And it's live scoring. So within a minute or so of them signaling the tracker, they get the scores posted up on this.
And it's all automated, right?
It's automated.
That
So
is
they
so
can see
amazing. That's so amazing.
Yeah, there's no way we could do that by hand.
So, and we've got different groups here. So right now we're on 4x4 Group A, but we also have a 4x4 Group B. What is the difference there?
So Groups A, B, and C will have different checkpoints. So they don't have all different checkpoints. Sometimes they're the same. Sometimes they're different. But you always want to look through both Groups A and B. If they're an X-Cross, they'll always be in Group C up there. And look through A and B. It doesn't necessarily mean where they are in the pack. It just means that they're on two different courses. They're very, very similar, and they've been deemed by our course directors to be equal in difficulty. But what you'll see is that sometimes as you follow along on the tracking, you'll see a couple different checkpoints, and you can hover over that and see
group it is.
Which group it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
But I do want to point out right here is that some of the scores are in red.
Yeah,
and
what's that?
Those are invalid scores. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, it actually gives you a description of why a score might be invalid. So today, what we're mostly seeing is that people got an X checkpoint and a regular checkpoint, and then they always only get points for the X checkpoint.
Okay.
And so that's how that works. If they got both of them, then the X checkpoint, no matter how many points it was, that's what they actually get the points for. But there's some other nomenclature down at the bottom. Sometimes people signal out of order. There's an O. Sometimes they're early. Sometimes they're late.
Right.
And those are all reasons why you might see a red score.
Right, because checkpoints open and close at specific times, and that's to keep people from keep people moving down the course, but also not moving too quickly down the course.
Right, exactly.
And the X checkpoints, when we say it's an X checkpoint, that is designated either more difficult driving or more difficult navigating.
Right. And sometimes, in fact, a lot of times the competitors don't know which it is. And so they just know it's going to be more difficult. Sometimes in the morning briefing, they get a little taste of it. You know, they'll kind of get a description. Okay, well, this is both harder driving and harder to navigate. Mm-hmm. But often it's harder to drive.
Do you think that it's a good strategy to, let's say they have a 6 and a 6X checkpoint, to try to go for both of those? That way you have guaranteed points, hopefully?
Well,
at the expense of time?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they aren't even on the same road or anywhere close to the same road. So you really have to make a choice of which way to go. And sometimes one is just before the other on the same road. And in that case, often we see people going for both.
Right.
Today, I think that we had a blue, easier checkpoint, regular, before the X checkpoint. And so a lot of people just went ahead and collected that. And then when they felt comfortable, if they were like confident about the X checkpoint, they went ahead and signaled there and got more points. And you can see in the scores that along with those little 6 X's in red that you see today, you'll also see right next to it a higher score. So it was a good move for them.
All right. So the point of this, you guys, is to not get freaked out if your team, your favorite team, is not at the top of the list, because these scores are not final for the day. That's only going to happen later this evening. Around what time do we have final scores posted?
Well, I'd say by 7 o'clock tonight, everything. But honestly, with the automatic scoring, everything's going to be 100% once everyone comes in. So if you watch the tracking and everyone's grouped up at base camp, you can look at the scores and assume that that's going to be it.
All right. That sounds great. Well, again, this is at rebellerally.com/live. Go into live scoring and live standings. Of course, you can look at it. You can look at the standings for day one. You can look at the standings overall. Since we're just here on the first day of scoring, our day one scoring is the exact same as our overalls. But rebellerally.com/live is a great place to see our stuff. Also, all of our socials. We have some kick butt Rebelle Rally Instagram posts that are going on. Ashley's doing such a great job. So check out those stories and those reels. Also, all of these shows, as well as the Dead Reckoning documentary, is on Rebelle Rally YouTube and, of course, Rebelle Rally Facebook. So we are all over the interwebs. And if you guys comment, we can see those comments here on the live show and we can read them out loud. So if you have a question, if you want to just like tell us how we're doing here on the live show, you guys can go ahead and comment. Please comment and we will try to read them out loud. As for our schedule, this is our afternoon competition update. Our next show will be tonight at the finish line around 5:30. At that point, we will have some teams in. We will have some teams still out. But Katie will be able to get a lot of good reactions onto their first day. So, again, that is tonight at 5:30 p.m. California time. And I cannot believe it is Saturday. It feels like, I don't know what day it feels like, but not Saturday.
Yeah, I certainly don't know what day it is.
No, absolutely not.
It's day one.
we will be here for one more day, and then we'll be moving on to our next base camp, which of course is super secret. We can't tell anybody. Thank you so much, Chrissie Beavis, for being here. I know that you've got a lot of work to do today. Thank you, everyone out there in Internet land, for joining us. Again, this is Rebelle Rally Live, brought to you by Toyota. I am Emmy Hall. That's Chrissie Beavis. We'll see you tonight at 5:30.